Imagine being part of the American military forces and getting an assignment to go to Afghanistan to fight. You turn to your commanding officer and say, "Excuse me, sir, but I'm just really too afraid to go." And he says, "Don't worry about it. You can stay right here. You don't have to go fight." What a crazy scenario. Yet at the same time, in this week's Parsha, this week's Torah reading, Parsha's Shoftim, we find that is the case. Now, the person who's afraid to go to fight is not the only one who's given an exemption from war. It might be a person who's recently married, perhaps they built a house and had not yet had the chance to live in it, or someone, yes, who even planted a vineyard and has not yet reaped the fruits. So the Talmud asks the question, how could it be that all of these people would have an exemption from going to war? And the response is that in those days, people were afraid not just because others had a more sophisticated weaponry. People really felt that when they would go to war, they would be successful if they had divine protection. And what entitled a person, so to speak, to divine protection was his ability to be righteous. So the reason a person would be afraid would not be because, oh my goodness, the bad guys are really big and strong. The reason they would be afraid would be because they did not have a sense of righteousness in themselves. In other words, they'd look into themselves and say, gee whiz, I'm doing all sorts of sins and nobody else knows I'm doing these sins, but I know and God knows, so therefore things might not go so well for me in the battlefield. So that person would be afraid. In order to protect the dignity of that man, the sinner, the Almighty allowed for exemptions for a whole host of other people. And sure enough, the Talmud explains that we have to be especially careful about the dignity of all people. And if the Torah commands us to be careful about the dignity of a sinner, imagine how careful we need to be to have dignity, respect, hold the honor in high regard for everyone else that we know. See, as we approach Rosh Hashanah, there's a Jewish principle that God responds to us the way we respond to other people. If we are kind and charitable to others, then God will be kind and charitable to us. And in this week's Torah reading, we are taught to have a special high regard, take care of protecting another person's honor, even a person who's not perfect, even a sinner, and all the more so everyone else who really isn't that bad to begin with.